is the time.
Forever? Tangent. Old.
Halt.
Hashtag always MGM.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Calm down. AK haters.
But what if it could?
Behold the majesty of the Sistine Ceiling.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
What a cute ending.
Aloha and
Don't Dillo it.
This is Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and we are here 10 days in advance of this episode recording. It is Monday night, September 18th, for a Thursday, September 28th drop in the audio feed.
This is crazy.
We're so ahead of it, so motivated by our meetup, which we recapped on last week's episode of Theme Park Thursday. If you didn't get to listen, go check it out. But we are here at DillosDizResort.com. The chat is going, DillosDizResort.com. That's our Patreon. Memberships beginning as low as $1 per month. At $1 get you into our one channel Discord. It's world renowned. It's famous. It's one channel. And it's there starting as low as $1 per month. We have tiers that go up to $10 per month. So make sure you check it out. DillosDizResort.com. Value, moderate, deluxe. All the levels are there waiting for you. What did I leave out, Jen?
People in the chat are very concerned about you this evening.
Am I a little...
You're looking a little blue. They're worried you're getting ready for October because that's coming, you know.
The birthday month is coming.
Birthday month is
technically
coming.
the episode before the birthday month. So,
Yes.
It's also technically episode 297 if we're doing official podcast episodes, which means we're 3 away from 300, the 300th episode of the Dillo's Diz podcast happening next month. Again, it's been a gloomy day here in New York City. It's been the rain and the wind and you can feel the autumn coming. So maybe the chat is onto something.
Maybe there's something happening here. We're recording this, as you mentioned, way ahead on September 18th. There was big theme park news today because part of the Magic Kingdom was closed. And apparently there was a bear on the loose.
Now, go back if you listen to all the recordings we've done. Jen, you lived in Central Florida for a little while. I lived in Central Florida for a little while. Did you know that there were bears in Central Florida when you lived there?
No. You know what? I didn't know there were bears, and I never saw a gator. Now, both of them, they're just walking around neighborhoods like it's nothing. I don't understand.
I mean, I don't find gators surprising, but we have talked about bears in our various recordings over the last 5 years.
Yes.
And we have bears in people's side yards hanging out in the streets. It's Central Florida. How did this happen?
I don't understand. But I did think of a question right before we started recording. Because I know you were like, at what? So let's say this happened during the Halloween party, right? We're there, Halloween party. There's a bear in a tree in the Magic Kingdom. What would freak you personally out more, a bear or a raccoon?
No, you can't have a raccoon running through the Magic Kingdom. I can't have that. A bear, obviously a bear, your life is more in jeopardy. That should be the answer. I don't trust the raccoon. I don't know what the raccoon's going to do. And if either one was in the Tom Sawyer's Island cave, forget about it. A raccoon in the Tom Sawyer's Island cave?
Gosh, just you and the raccoon on the island. That should be like a whole story or something. That's probably going to be your dream tonight, but...
Just a raccoon on the raft going across Tom Sawyer's Island.
Frank just like, yay, I'm back on Tom Sawyer's Island. Here comes the raccoon on the raft.
Like, no. No. I mean, there's some symbolism in there, but we're not going to talk about it right now. What we are going to talk about on this episode of Theme Park Thursday is that we have guests lined up. I just want to say one of whom might be an expert on bears based on their location, but that person keeps going in and out of the green room. I cannot keep track of them anymore. So we'll get to
We may
that.
be waiting for a while for that
We
person.
could be waiting for some
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
He has to stay on brand. It's September 28th, technically, if you're listening in the audio feed. Today, I am told, I am aware as of September 18th that today marks the beginning of the final voyage of the Galactic Starcruiser. So, which is crazy, 18
Yeah.
months, and here we are. Jen and I, back at the beginning of this year, maybe when we knew that some of these guests were going on the Star Cruiser, we were like, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if we could bring them all together to talk about their experiences and have like a panel discussion? Little did we know that that our life would be crazy for 6 months, but also that the Galactic Star Cruiser would be closing.
Yep. Yeah. And but we still want to do it. But now it's like a nice little bon voyage, in the words of Carmen Sandiego. So, we say we can make it a nice little goodbye now instead.
Yeah, so we're gonna bring these three guests in. All three are guests of DillosDizResort.com.
Mm-hmm.
Although I now only see two in the green room. The third one we will have to wait for. But they are guests of DillosDizResort.com. Two you've heard on previous episodes, one very recently, and one, I can hardly believe it, is a first-time guest on the
I know.
podcast.
Weird.
It's weird for all
Mhm.
the, all the years of the 12 days and all. This person has somehow, we've missed them along the way.
Well, good thing we're doing the 12 months of Dillo's Diz
Oh,
Ohana.
do you want
So
to call this a community court? Because I'll happily change the little icon in the corner of the StreamYard
no,
to
this
reflect
doesn't
that.
count. It doesn't count.
It
I
doesn't
mean, we
count,
can
but
keep
I
it.
changed the thing. So now
All
it's
right, we can
official. It
keep
has
it.
a community core
Yeah.
logo in the corner. Oh, I see the person that we're speaking of waiting in the green room now, I think, maybe.
Maybe.
So let's just get right to the guests.
Yes.
I'll bring that person in last because I don't know. So up first for the very first time here on the Dillo's Diz podcast, Theme Park Thursday, the whole thing. It's Ryan. Ryan, what is up?
Hello there.
Hello.
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. Excited to talk about the Halcyon.
Yes. Thanks for coming on. And again, it's weird that this is our first time talking to you. That's
I know,
not in a chat form.
I'm a Dillo's Diz rookie here, so take it easy on me.
Ryan, who we pestered for months about going to the meetup, alack the day he could not go.
No, fall is tough. I have cheerleading daughters, so
Yeah, we get it.
football and the such.
I hear you. I also appreciate you saying Halcyon right away, so I didn't second guess myself 20 times about
I'm
how
probably
to say.
pronouncing it wrong. It's okay.
No, you said it. That's what we're going with. So
We'll go with it.
We got to stick with it now. But, you're talking to two Long Islanders here, so maybe the third Long Islander that I will bring into the chat will give a different pronunciation of the name. You know her, you love her. You can't live without her. It's Lexi. Lexi!
Hello.
hi, Lexi. Welcome back. 2 weeks in a row, Lexi.
I know. This is crazy.
Pretty soon we'll be hanging out on Long Island together.
No, that's too far.
Easy. Let's not get crazy.
It's a little too much.
But as you're introducing Lexi as a fellow Long Islander and how we pronounce words here, we've never mentioned, Lexi, you do not have an accent. We have the excuse of Disney getting rid of ours.
Mhm.
How do you not have the Long Island's ease?
Well, I like a lot of my travels, I ended up like living with a lot of people with different dialects from different areas. So I have weird intonations that I've picked up from different dialects.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. I like it.
And Ryan, I agree with you on Halcyon.
All right, good.
Excellent.
It's official.
Yeah.
Well, now we know.
The third person, currently not in the green room. I'm staying on brand. We're waiting. We're just waiting for Adam here.
Waiting.
But here we are. We'll wait. We'll bring Adam in a second. Let's just try to set the timeline here of when each of you took a voyage on the Halcyon. starting with Lexi?
I think it was January 9th, I want to say.
Because did you take it after you ran or before you ran?
Yeah, I did the marathon and I did the Halcyon the very next day.
That is
Wow.
a trip.
3 people shaking their heads in the windows.
I do have to say, like running around and having to do all the little things was actually really good for blood flow. And now I do something the next day after a marathon.
Oh,
So
there you go.
Oh, I like that idea. All right.
Ryan, what about you?
It was May 31st, so about 2 weeks after they announced the closing.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. So I'm interested to hear like how the vibe was, but I mean, neither of you could really compare to the other, but maybe we'll just discover it as you both talk about it. There was a difference at all.
a difference in vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, ours was interesting. I think about 2/3 of the people on the voyage, and it was sold out.
Yeah.
Booked it within the last, because the bookings went live 5 days before we took off.
Mm.
And so 2/3 of the people on our voyage booked at that time.
Wow.
So they were scrambling to get there, didn't really know what they were getting into, some of them. So it was kind of interesting.
Everyone who had been saving up, like, I'll go in a few years. Let me save. Never mind. We're doing it now. Let's go. And just swiping the credit card. Yeah. No, I
How
got
come we didn't do that?
I know we should have.
I'm so scared.
I'm so scared.
I know I was. Speak for myself. Lexi, how long in advance did you plan your trip?
we planned it the summer prior, so summer 2022. But we had wanted to do January. So when we found out that it wasn't opening till March, we knew we had to wait. So
Gotcha. Oh, I see. From January 2020. Wait. Yeah. When it didn't open in January 22, you went.
Yeah, it did March 22.
Gotcha.
Can
right.
I interrupt because someone has come into the green room and is making faces at me right now? Would you like to give him a proper introduction? I feel like we've introduced him like 3 times by now.
Well, that's how, it's in his rider that I have to introduce him 3 different times. We've been waiting long enough. Here he is. It's Adam. Adam,
There he is.
hello.
Hi,
I'm so
Adam.
sorry.
Sure.
I'm so sorry. I had to flip to my phone because the computer just is not working. I don't know why.
That's okay.
Adam, we had to wait
Adam,
for you.
you know
And I've been
that-
trying this for half an hour and I still can't get it to work.
Is that the struggle? Because we went back and forth a lot over the weekend to make sure you would arrive today, and I never know, because even with the meetup, we didn't know if you were actually going to show up. That wasn't like joking. We were like, we don't know if he's really coming or not. We don't know. So yeah, you're laughing because I'm sure you still thought it was a possibility that whole weekend.
But I'm glad I'm here. So, and hi Lexi and hi Ryan. I don't think I've met you, Ryan, before.
No,
so
we've never
nice to
met
talk to
before.
you.
Nice to meet you.
You too. And if I repeat something you guys already said, I apologize. I wasn't able to listen. So
Well, obviously, Adam.
No, we just started
Adam.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam, does your shirt say forever? But
it says
seems,
forever.
I love it, but it seems a little like what kind of forever? That is not a Dillo's Diz tee. So what kind of forever shirt is that?
It's a this is a Halcyon forever. So that's the Halcyon logo there from the Star Wars Hotel.
So they stole it from us, is what you're saying? Interesting.
Yeah, they did. Isn't that and Gonzo? So I guess like a couple months ago, somebody like thought, hey, we should do this like idea, and it's a T public shirt. It's not a official Disney shirt, because they would never promote the closing of something, right, with T-shirts, right?
Right.
No,
Right.
never.
Interesting.
I still have my Great Movie Right T-shirt from the closing. So wait a minute. I guess I wasn't aware of this whole Forever Halcyon connection, because sometimes I think we're joking when we say we do things or we say things and then like we manifest them into the world. Like we planned the meetup and then immediately Disney countered with Destination 23. Like we're joking when we say they do these things on purpose, but now I see Adam's shirt. And I'm like, is it because we've been saying forever, that they're like, what would be cool for the Halcyon? This slogan, forever.
Definitely.
Come on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We might have to discuss this with our resident legal expert, Nate. I don't think he's in the chat right now, but we're going to have to see
Where's Nate?
what the legalities are behind this design that looks nothing like ours. So we're gonna have to talk to him about that. But
Adam, when did you go on the Halcyon? What was the month?
President's Day weekend, February of 23.
No, a very quiet time at the parks.
Actually, they said it was the most crowded it had been in months, and it was the most kids they had on the ship in months. It was the first full ship they had in a long time.
yeah, that winter break up here, because we get that full week off, and I feel like I scroll through my Facebook feed and everyone I've ever known and their family is at Disney the last 2 years during the February break. It's crazy. That makes sense.
That's true. I have a question that's not well, it is related, but I feel like I cannot continue the podcast without asking this of the three of you. Did you all portray a character when you boarded the Halcyon, or were you yourself? Starting with Adam.
Yeah, no, I did. I was a character because I had my whole group had a backstory. I don't remember my name. If you would have picked me last, I would have pulled it up on my document that I had. But it was like it had something to do with my last name with glue. So it was like glue sick or something like that. It was genius. It was pretty good. But
It's genius.
but yeah, my shtick was I was trying to learn the ways of the Force. That's what I was trying to do.
All right. And what was your whole group's backstory? Was that the same?
No, we were all like a traveling band looking to add members to our group, which I mean, I guess we could spoil it because it's not going to be around too much longer. But there is a character on the ship that is a performer, which we didn't realize when we were thinking of this whole thing. So it kind of worked out that we were like trying to get this new band member in with us, and that person happened to play an instrument. So it was kind of funny how it worked out that way.
That's cool. Nice.
Ryan, did you have a character when you boarded the Halcyon?
I did. I kind of played off of my regular name. I was Rhino Rodna, which is Andor backwards because I like Cassian Andor a lot.
Nice.
And I was part of a crew too. We had 5 of us that were there. I was there with Nate Bishop and then Derek and Doug from Rope Drop. And so we were the Rope Drop crew and we had patches. And so we were, I believe part of that backstory was we were Felucian shrimp fishermen of some sort.
Oh.
Because that's the blue shrimp that they serve at dinner one night. And so my particular character, I was more of a I don't know how to say, I was part of Maz Kanata's crew, but then when they destroyed the place, I jumped on the rope drop and was just kind of there. I knew I wanted to go down the Jedi path or storyline, so I wasn't particularly force sensitive, but kind of. And so I was just trying to get in with the Saja as much as I could.
Oh man, and let me tell you, looking at the pictures of your group, Ryan, we were having all the FOMO. We're like, look at this group. Look at a good group, man.
Well, we started off as just a ship crew, but then it turned into something different. One of the guys that went with us dressed as Walter from The Big Lebowski. And so we became known as the FOW, the Friends of Walter. And so it became a thing on the ship.
Nice. That's cool.
Nice.
Lexi?
So I didn't I went on, I went as Lexifer. I definitely dressed like, as I guess you would call it, maybe like Tatooine chic. But I was a little worried because I didn't want to be spoiled, but I had heard some things. But at the same time, I didn't want to force anything that didn't feel natural. So I really wanted to see what the actors were giving me. So I didn't go in with a huge backstory because I don't know, maybe I was going to get taken over to the dark side. I didn't want to not do something that didn't feel natural in the moment. So I left it wide open for myself. But if anyone asked me where I was from, I said I was from Planet Vino.
as pictured behind you there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So what can you, maybe we'll go reverse this answering how order that we just did. Can you tell me what happens as you're boarding? What is that process like, and what is your initial reaction to it all, Lexi?
Okay, so first off, because I was already at the resort, like I was at the Caribbean beach. My brother and I were there, and then our parents were meeting us because they were driving down from New York. The best thing is that the
Did
day
they stop
before.
at stop at the border? Or?
Yeah.
What was their route?
I don't know. Well, because my brother was coming down to cheer for me for the run, and my parents were like, "We're not going to get there until the day of." But we already, like, you know how sometimes you have to like finagle to get late check-in, like pick out. We had a message from the Halcyon the night before, like saying, you know, we know that you're about to board, and like, don't worry, we took care of your accommodations. And like, just ask for a cab. So as soon as we left Caribbean Beach, I've never seen a cast member jump like this. I was like, we're supposed to be able to get like a transport to the Halcyon, and this woman was like, oh, right away, I'm gonna go get it for you. I was like,
oh,
I was like, it's okay, it's all right.
That's funny.
She was like, this way. I was like, we're good. We're fine. We still have an hour before we have to like get on. But it was like the funniest thing ever, because like they immediately like bending over backwards more so than usual, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is the thing.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so that's the funniest part.
Yeah.
Lewis is in the chat. He wants to see pictures of these crews, so maybe we can try to obtain a photo of your crews individually at some point to post when we drop the episode on the 28th. Ryan, what about your check-in?
We had a car, so we drove ourselves, and we were the first people in line to get on. So we got there at about 11 o'clock. They don't let you in until 1, but we're insane. So we were like, we're going to maximize the time. So you get there, and they take your luggage, and you just kind of get in line and wait. You do go through security. They start that at a certain time. So you do that. You walk down the hallway where you see the logo. And I think there was a quick little video explaining to you the difference between like the fake emergency and the real life emergency. It's a different siren, and you need to know that. And then you take the transport up, and you open the door, and you walk into the atrium, and it kind of takes your breath away a little bit. Because it's real at that point. And they walk you in, and you kind of from that point they take you straight to your room, and then you're just free to either eat lunch or just kind of wander around, shop, explore, that sort of thing.
That's pretty cool. Adam, where were you coming from?
I was coming from the planet Naboo, so we had a different route. We came in through the backside. There's like a landing port with the spaceship comes on. No, I was at we were at Coronado, and yes, they had a cab, but we didn't need cabs, we had cars, so we drove in.
Yeah, that's where we stayed.
They asked us if we had any weapons on us, and I had a lightsaber, so I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to answer this. Do I have a weapon on me? Yes or no? I was like, well, I have a lightsaber. She's like, okay, good. Do you have any other weapons? And I think she meant real weapons, which we was like, no, we don't have real weapons. But yeah, like I had tried to avoid. I knew what the atrium looked like from videos and such online. But I tried to avoid most of the. I tried to avoid a lot of spoilers and such. So, although I had seen it on video, when you get in through the the elevator portal shuttle thing and you get up there, it really is. It really it is amazing to see. Like, you do feel like you're in. It does feel like you're on a ship, and cast. There were so many cast members, and we were, like I said before, we were a very full. We were a full ship, so but they had enough. There had to be like one cast member for every 3 people on that ship. So any questions we had when we got on there, they were willing to answer us, and they helped me with with the apps and everything. And yeah, the store was open, the shop, and it was and then the food. I think lunch was already open when we walked in, because we got in there early. We got in there right as we were able to, as well, as early as possible, and it was all ready to go. So it was really seamless experience. It really kind of reminds you of getting on a real cruise ship. That's kind of I think what they were going for. So
yeah.
Adam, providing my segue to take it back to Lexi. As the cruise ship veteran, Lexi, please compare and contrast boarding the Halcyon compared to boarding one of the many cruise ships you've worked on.
Okay, so first off, wait was a lot shorter than boarding a cruise ship. And the numbers of attendants to guests is, like Adam said, like it was a lot more closer to like one-on-one attention than on a cruise ship. So everything, I don't know. And the only thing is I was not given a drink when I walked on board, but don't worry, I went and bought my own. I do have to say though, as far as like feels go, like when the doors open and you first see the atrium, like I was not prepared for how overwhelmed I just got in that instance. Like, and like as a theater person, like I'm used to seeing like really cool things and sets and like seeing the seams. I had a moment where I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry, and I did not expect this, and I need a moment. Like it was spectacular.
Yeah, I worry for Frank during this episode that he's gonna start having a little bit more of a regret, because he was always debating.
It was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah. Like, should we do it? And then I would joke like, oh, we'll all go in, and for your 50th, fine, Frank, for 50, we'll put you on the ship and this whole thing. And then it was like, nope, it is going away forever. And so far I'm already getting the FOMO, and I was always like, I could go either way with it, but it's sounding pretty cool.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine.
No, it was horrible. It was horrendous.
Yeah, no fun at all.
No fun at all.
Well, thanks for joining us here today. So, because I also, and that's funny coming from me, who's trying to guide the podcast here, but I watched some of the video also, but I didn't do the I didn't want the spoilers either, and I probably could have had all the spoilers now the last 6 months, knowing I wasn't never going to go. But I know some of the performers that are on the Halcyon, so like I get bits and pieces along the way. But take me through like that first night, like maybe into dinner, and if that leads into a general food conversation between everybody, so be it. That way we can maybe just talk about the food and beverages throughout the whole course, but starting with that first night, and I'll go to Ryan first.
Okay, so yeah, the first day you get on there, nothing storyline wise happens until about 4:00. So like a cruise ship, you have a muster station that you go to, and that's kind of the starting point for the story. Before then, the ship's just kind of there. You can walk around and try to do some things. And I can't remember exactly when it started, but you do get messages on your data pad on your phone. And so it's questions. And so you can kind of look at it and tell how I answer this question is going to determine what happens with me. So the main face characters will send you messages or ask you questions, and you answer it. And when you do that, determines if you get a mission or if you get whoever you start going towards that path or that person. So once muster happens, then the main characters are all there at that point. And it's kind of, who do you get close to? Who do you start a conversation with? Just kind of how does that work? I went into it originally wanting to just go in and go with the flow, right? I wanted to just see, where does it take me? How does it happen? But knowing that it was closing and it was my one voyage, I had one shot at this. I knew I didn't get spoiled. I knew a little bit. I knew I wanted to be in the Saja finale. And so I made a point to make sure I was around those people as much as I could be. But once it starts, it just kind of happens. It's hard to really describe how it happens. It's just who you're near, who you have a conversation with. You start getting missions to go scan this, get your way into this. And then it just kind of, the rest of that afternoon, that's kind of what you're doing from about 4:15, 4:30-ish on. You're kind of following wherever your data pad leads you, basically, or whatever particular character leads you to, until you go to dinner. And I don't know if Lexi or Adam had a different experience, but it was just kind of, okay, I want to get near these people. I want to make sure, because you don't have to speak to them. You just have to be in the vicinity of them.
Yeah.
For them to realize, hey, this person's interested in this character. Let's start sending them messages and giving them things to do.
I'm so sorry, Frank, but I'm going to say the following. These are some of like the best improv actors I have ever interacted with. Like phenomenal. Like they were so good with kids that weren't paying attention, kids with special needs who were yelling in the middle of it. Pulling people in who were anxious or nervous, making the people who wanted to be in it 100% like known. Like they were phenomenal. They 100% made the experience.
Absolutely.
And I just like, I was so impressed with the amount of like juggling they did with the amount of people around each of them. It was absolutely phenomenal.
And they legitimately remember everyone's name somehow. I mean, they meet you for 30, 40 seconds and they can call you by name an hour later. It's mind blowing.
I think, so I don't want to, I think that how they know your name is because if you noticed, anytime they would ask your name, first of all, it was at that point, I dropped my fake name because I couldn't say it too much and I just had to go to my real name. And I think it was also, I think, helping the actors. Anytime they'd ask your name, they always repeat it. So they said it twice. Yeah. They had an earpiece in their ear, right? With a two-way microphone. I believe, and because I've talked to people that worked on the ship, that there are people behind the scenes that will then are feeding that actor information on the person, and they are now communicating with them to get them involved. Because there was a part where there was a time where I tried to use a fake name to try to throw off an actor, like the Lieutenant Croy, the First Order officer. And I used a fake name to try to throw him off, and he knew I was using a fake name because he knows what my real name was because they were telling him. So I think they were getting like cheat codes, which is fine. To non-cynical people unlike me, you don't even notice that, and it's just like normal conversation, and like Lexi said, they were the best actors. Like, and I don't know enough about like musical theater or improv to know anything about this, but they were incredible in how they made you really feel connected. And like the muster station, even though it's all fake, they really made it feel like, you're gonna have a problem on the ship. This is what you got to do. And then it was like going off of that, the story was basically starting. Did you guys have 2 dinner services or just one?
We had 2.
I had 2.
Okay, all right, because we had 2 also, and we were the early one. I'm pretty sure we were the early one. Yeah, we were the early one.
Yeah, we were 5:30.
My situation was a little strange because we found out there was only like 270 people on board with us. And mine was like the last cruise they had before they started spacing the cruises out.
Oh, okay.
So we had like nobody. It was perfection. Like, but there was both dinner services. Everyone had front row seats because there was no one on the outside, nobody in the back.
Oh wow.
Yeah, all our meals were full, but I don't know how it happened. I mean, we had captain's table the second night, so I think because of that, our first night was also closed because we had a front row seat on the first night for dinner.
We did too.
Wait. So Ryan, you also did second day captain's table?
We did.
So all 3 of us did second day captain's table. So that front table was for people doing captain's table.
That's what we figured out too.
Yeah.
And then, but I felt, and you feel bad for the people sitting in the back because I don't know how they can say, because it's not like the way like the seats are. Like if you're in the back corner, you can't really see the stage too well. And the performer was great. I have no idea what she was singing, but she was really good.
She moved around the dining room when we were there. I don't know if she did when y'all were there.
She did.
As she would sing, she would leave the stage some and kind of move around.
Yeah.
So to just clarify, the captain's table was like a surcharge. and it was available for day 1 and day 2. And I know originally, right before, it was only an extra $30 a person, but I know by the time I got into it, it was an extra $50 a person.
Yeah.
And it was, you're supposed to get like an extra course or 2, a drink, right? Wasn't there a drink with it?
I think there was
something.
Well, we didn't get one.
Oh, I think I got bubbled.
We had a few. I don't know if they were provided or
I can't recall if we ordered those or.
I know we ordered some. I don't remember how many.
And then you had like personal interaction with the actors. So the people who had second day, we had interaction actually more so with Lieutenant Croy, but because of that, they also put us in the table closest to Gaia for the day 1 show. So when I had made my reservation, I asked them, I said, the person who did I was like, which day would you recommend? And she's like, well, do you know anything about it? And I was like, no. And I was like, I don't want any spoilers. She's like, if it was my family, I'd take them to the second day. She's like, it's a better experience. And what I'm realizing now is she was trying to say that the captain won't be at the captain's table on the second day, but I'm not going to tell you, but it's more entertaining.
Yeah, that was a little weird. There was no captain at captain's table.
Yeah.
We didn't get a free drink. We got a bottle of wine to share, and I know it was very expensive because my friend paid for it and he likes good wine, because they have their Star Wars canon drinks and wine and such, and then they also then offer normal drinks if that's what you want, because that we ended up getting some normal California bottle of wine. So they did, and I really think that's on purpose, because for every nerd like us that's there's people there have no idea what the heck they're doing, and they just want Robert Mondavi or something like that. So that's what they're gonna. Not that he's the best. I'm not saying that, but just that's they're looking for something easy. And I think if we ever get to like issues that I had, that's probably where I'll be coming up even more. So.
Just one follow-up. I had to, and Lexi already clarified what the captain's table was. But you mentioned you had 270 on board, Lexi?
Just like them. Yeah, we just had no people.
Right. So what are the typical numbers, I guess, in recent months, or what's the max capacity?
I don't know. Is there the number?
There's 100 rooms.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 people per room.
You can fit 5 in a room, so I think it's probably max 500.
Okay.
I don't think we had 500 on ours. I think all the rooms were full, but it didn't. Even though it was a full voyage, it didn't really feel overcrowded to me.
That's good.
Yeah.
You could always find a spot or a nook or a cranny where you kind of were by yourself if you wanted to be. But it didn't really seem overly crowded. So I mean, probably 400 people on an average voyage, maybe.
We had a ton of kids on our cruise, which I'm not like anti-kid. I love children, but like there were plenty of kids on there that the parents had just gone off to drink, and the kids were running around the whole place. Yeah. And you have to and there's parts where in your storyline you have to interact with everybody in your group. If you're like going for a certain type of experience, you then have to work with these people. And I had a run-in with one of the kids. He was like 10 years old. I think his name was it was a typical 10-year-old kid name of 2012, right? Cody or Kyle with like an IE or something like that, right?
Sure.
And a Ryder or something. And he said we were talking to Sammy, who's he's the engineer on the ship, one of the main characters. And the kid came up to me and says, I saw you talking with Lieutenant Croy. You're a traitor. And I was like, listen, buddy. I said, you're someday when you get old, you're gonna learn about being a double agent. That's what I was trying to do. I said, so I'm here to help us and help our group. You're gonna have to calm down, kid. And the parents were like standing there too, because the kid was like yelling at me. And I'm like, oh, hold on, buddy, you're 11 years old. But but the parents let him go along, and then eventually I saw the kid later on, and he realized what I was trying to do. So it was, but it was fun. It was kind of fun, and like dealing with kids of like that that are into this kind of thing. It was like seeing yourself and a younger point of view. So because I was like, I probably wouldn't have been like that if I was his age. So
yeah,
Adam pretty much describing like, well, if you love being the engineer on Smuggler's Run, here's what you can do on the Galactic Starcruiser.
I did get in trouble at one point. I got in trouble a couple times, but I got in trouble at one point because there's a part where the First Order was taking Sandro, who's the musician on the ship. They were taking him as a prisoner, and they were taking him downstairs as a prisoner, and I was like, well, I'm going to cut him off with the elevator. So I came down the elevator and I ran around the corner, and I thought we were allowed to engage with the stormtroopers. Nobody told me we couldn't. So I ran up to them, and then the handler, which I didn't realize they were handlers, but now I know they were. The handler told me you can't run here, and I was like, oh, sorry. I had my fake lightsaber ready out to go at him, but I'm like, I guess that's not part of the story. I guess I have to go along with whatever they're doing. So.
Adam just going behind the doors that are like cast member only. Like that's fine. See what's back here.
Yeah, the brig is a cold, dark place. You don't want to go in there.
Let's talk about, because all three of you obviously have been to Galaxy's Edge multiple times. So I was always curious for people who, did the voyage, but then when they bring you over to Galaxy's Edge the next day, are you able to enjoy it the same way, knowing that you've been around it before? Or is it like, all right, I know where I'm going and I know what I'm doing?
It's the most magical thing ever. Because, after you come out of the truck, you walk down they have a separate hallway, and you come out of these gates, and, everyone who's there is staring at you, and you're, instantaneously part of the show. It's like you're in on a secret joke that everyone else who's just a guest doesn't know, and it's pretty phenomenal. All the casts are, calling out to you bright suns and stuff, and it's really neat.
Yeah, they give you a pin to wear so that the cast in Galaxy's Edge know you're on the voyage. And I haven't been back since then to try just wearing it on a random day to see if they'll do the same thing. But yeah, everybody interacts with you. And our group, we'd all been enough. We're like, we're going to get these missions done. We're going to get these things done. We're going to ride the rides, eat, and get back on the ship. But you do have missions in Batuu in Galaxy's Edge to do. And so just the same as when you're on the ship, they're constantly sending you things. You're interacting with characters via your phone data pad, and you have missions to accomplish that will unlock certain activities for you later in the day. So for us, me and one of the guys in our group, we were determined to be on the Saja Pass. So we had missions to do. And when we finished them, we looked at our itinerary, and it had popped up that we were in that meeting, in that finale. And so we knew then we had accomplished what we wanted to. But yeah, and we did Chewbacca mode on the Millennium Falcon, which is a lot of fun if you've never done that. And normally you have to do certain things, but the cast member was like, I'm just going to do it for y'all. And so it was our group of 5 and this one random college age girl that they put in with us through the single rider line. I think she might have been a little shell shocked, but they treat you a little differently, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Question for both Ryan and Adam: have either of you guys worn your Halcyon magic band into Smuggler's Run since riding?
I haven't been back since I was there in May, so I haven't had a chance to. But every time I go back, that's my magic band until it quits working.
Because I'm curious to see if Hondo will still say the special message if you have the magic band on you.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I wonder if he will. I don't know. I know one of our guys did go. I know he's been back, so I'll message him and ask him.
Yeah, I'm curious.
See if I can find out.
Lexi, why didn't you bring yours a few weeks ago?
I totally forgot. I was 100% going to. I'm sorry. I literally said to Lewis, I was like, I forgot the Halcyon band.
But you found the truck, so I mean,
I found the truck.
There
I
you
didn't
go.
find the truck.
Good. Yes.
Very
Adam, have
happy.
you been back with yours?
No, I'm not wearing it. I always wear my Muppet Vision band.
Yeah.
In the studios.
Save the Muppets.
We did the task very quickly. We got off, like, we were the first group off because we were like, we've all been there before. We really don't need to spend much time there. So we did all the tasks. Then the task of the path that you're trying to get on come to your phone, but then they also like send you other tasks if you and you can do them if you want to. So we were like, well, let's just try to do as many as we can so that we can have all the options. Because what happens is you get back on the ship, and then the day, as the evening goes on, then there's all these like special event things that you really have to be on a list to. It sounds kind of funny, but you really have to be on a list to get in. And I was able to do the final Saja as well as the final captain, the captain's thing in the bridge, because we had also done all these other things and we were jumping from spot to spot. But not to jump ahead too far ahead, but we didn't eat in Batu. We were like, we want to eat the different food on the ship, and then but we did go see Muppet Vision, so we did leave Batu. We saw Muppet Vision, and we met because Powerline with Goofy's Max's Powerline had just started meeting and greeting there, so we did that and a Muppet Vision, and then we went back on the ship. It was cool being in there doing the thing with for the Halcyon, but it wasn't anything. It really wasn't anything exciting because it was just scanning barcodes and doing these like puzzles on your phone. There really wasn't any other. I don't think there really was anything kind of special to go with that. I don't know how much more they could have done. They would have had to have more actors doing things, or even just more cast from the ship, maybe with you. Maybe on smaller cruises they could have done that. Maybe with a bigger one, maybe they couldn't do that. But I don't think there really was much going on with. Maybe to somebody that had never been to Galaxy's Edge, it's a bigger deal to do it from that. But for us, it really wasn't really that exciting.
So a lot of people took pause to boarding the ship because of the price. So do you all think it was worth the price?
I can go first. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I did not. Now, caveat here. I split a room with 2 other people. So I didn't pay a full price room for like my family of 4 to go. So my price tag wasn't as high as it would be for someone else. And we were fortunate to be in the discount window. So we even got a disc, which I would have gone either way, and I still think would have been worth it. But to answer that, the best way I know to do it is if it was going to still be open, I would try to go once a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would go back because one of my concerns going in was, is it repeatable? Right. Yeah. It's one overarching storyline. How repeatable is this thing? And after doing it, it's so repeatable. I mean, I was shocked by how repeatable it could be. There were things going on that you don't know about unless you're doing it. Yeah. And so if you're on one path, you don't know what's going on with the other path. You're around certain characters a lot. You're not around other characters hardly at all. So yeah, it's a pretty repeatable thing. So yeah, I think for me, it was worth it. As a Star Wars kid, as somebody who grew up loving this, 100%.
Yeah. Lexi, you look like it was a tough decision. But to me, also, I want to just preface, anything in Disney, I can justify because Disney math just makes sense. So like, I get that too. But I was just wondering.
So I've never had this experience before where I can tell you it was 100% worth it. Not like I see where every dollar went, but at the same time, way too expensive. Like I'm 100% at war on it. It was way too expensive, but it was 100% worth the price. Like that makes no sense. That shouldn't live in the thing. Like I shared a room with my family, so I was one of 4. So I definitely had a smaller price tag than my mom, who paid for 3 people. I think if they had maybe approached it like more like a cruise line and say it's a set price per room, it might have been it might have sold a little bit better because they could it would still be pricey. But I mean, I feel bad for the parents that brought like tons of like 2 or 3 little kids on, and the price kept raising because of that. Like, I feel like that's the problem. And it's 100% repeatable. Like, I would keep going back. Like, there's so much going on. Ryan is on point with that.
Yeah. Adam?
See, I kind of felt like it's not repeatable unless if they change something. Because we were able to do so many like extra things. It was when they announced that they were closing, you know, me and my friend were like, well, we don't need to do this again because like we've just done it.
Right.
Like it's not, they're not if they're not going to change it, then like we've done the experience. When we went, it was President's Day weekend, so it was the most expensive spot it was. So, and then I, you know, paid for a quarter of it. I think if everybody's like is in a family unit and everybody's like okay being on top of each other, I think it's better. But if you're like 4 friends, I don't know how you feel about this, but there's not enough room in that room to like to exist, which is a good thing that you have. It's a good thing that you have so many activities to not even be there. But I feel like for that much money, they should have given you a bigger room. The bathrooms were just way too small, and they were not as nice as they should have been for that price. I think the food was excellent, but none of it was like, you know, French gourmet. You know, it was like, you know, Star Wars food. You weren't even there 48 hours. It was like 45 hours. So it wasn't even like 2 full days. But the amount of attention to detail that they gave you, if you really, I think it's worth it it was worth it if you were willing to put in the effort to engage with everybody and make it a good experience, which I think is what we did. And I think not to like, you know, beat a dead horse, but Frank, I know for sure you wouldn't want to leave. You would have stayed. You would have tried to hide somewhere to stay on. But there were people there that just sat in the atrium and just drank, and because they had a bar there that was open, I'm pretty sure it was open like it was all day, and into 2 a.m. So these people, they weren't engaging in anything. They were just, I don't know if they were parents and their kids were having all the fun and they were just making sure their kids didn't die or something, but they were just sitting there, and maybe that's their way of having fun. I don't know, but
it was the spouse.
But it was like, I mean, it like Lexi said, it was way too expensive, but it's definitely like for me, it's like a once in a lifetime like type of experience that if I was going to pay that money again, it's got to be something else. They've got to do another story. They've got to have different characters. They got to change it up.
No, that makes sense. I mean, we probably could talk about this all night long, but we're already almost an hour in, and I want to jump on Adam's once in a lifetime comment by saying, what about the whole experience? It made you feel like something you've never experienced before? Was there a moment? Was there an interaction? Was there just something fleeting even that said, I've never had this before. What is this I'm feeling right now?
I think for me and maybe you guys, well, I said before, I've never done theater or anything like that, so I've never been in that. I've always just been in the real world. Okay, so being in here, it was like you were in a movie. You were like in a fake world, and the way that the cast members made you feel that you were a part of something bigger. You were a part of the Star Wars world. We're doing this task to help this character, to help Rey out, to help Chewie out. They engaged you so well, and they, even though there were so many people on the ship, they still personally, like, especially since they knew your name, they engaged with you so well that it was like you were even in that story and you were living that for that amount of time. And I've never experienced that ever, like, other than like, you know, real life, you know, like this was like another life you were living in this world. And the cast members, like, they they instantly like grabbed onto you and were like we're friends. This is what we're doing together. And like you connect, and we connected well with some other guests on the ship that were like sort of like going around with us. The way that Desaja like told me like, I can feel the force in you, and I think you're strong, and then you're gonna come with us and join us, and you know, to do the secret task with us, and that's where like the big thing that Ryan was talking about like came out, and that was personal to me. That was like amazing. I was like, wow, these people like, and I had like in that moment I forgot they were actors, and I thought they were just like they actually liked me, and I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the mark of like a really good, you know, theatrical type experience, is when you're so immersed in that and you feel like you are living in with them, and they feel that, or they make you feel that.
I mean, I can go next, Lexi.
Yeah.
I know for me, as a little boy, I always wanted to be in a Star Wars movie. Like from the time I can remember being 4 years old, watching Return of the Jedi, I was like, I want to be in a Star Wars film. And Han Solo was my favorite character. That's who I wanted to be, with the big Wookiee buddy. And we're going to go through the galaxy and just get into all sorts of stuff. So the first night, one of the tasks I just randomly got assigned to, because I was in the right place at the right time, was we had to sneak Chewbacca from the engineering room, which is on one level, up to the bridge on another level, to sneak him off the ship because he's not supposed to be there. And of course, there's this gigantic Wookiee, and we're supposed to hide him, right? And so there were two guys in front, two behind, and I was on his left, another guy on the right. As we're going up the stairs and going through the atrium, he's interacting with us. Chewbacca himself, like laughing at us. We're cracking jokes. I don't know how they make that Wookiee laugh, but he does. And it's like a carpet laughing is what it kind of sounds like. I mean, we grabbed cookies to give to him for the trip. And in that moment, I was 5-year-old me with my buddy Chewbacca running through the Starcruiser on a mission, right? And so it's those kind of things. And another one I'll throw out, night 2, is when Rey, I know we can spoil it because by the time this comes out, people are either on the ship or they don't have a chance to go. So Rey, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Frank. I'm sorry, buddy. So Rey arrives on night 2. And so I happen to be coming out of dinner, and I see Rey, and she's hunched looking around a corner. She asked me to, hey, are there any stormtroopers? No, coast is clear. And I just kind of throw my name to her, and I'm saying, look, I've been working with Desaja. If you need any help, I got your back. About an hour later, run into her again on a mission, interact for a minute. We come into the finale, and she does come into that Saja finale that Adam was talking about. And I think Lexi's experienced this one as well. And so she comes in, and I don't remember how she says it. She starts talking about, oh, I see so many new friends, blah, 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 people that are one with the Force helping us. And then she goes, and some friends that I've known for a while, and looked directly at me when she said it. And I'm like, Rey knows me. I'm Star Wars canon. Done. Boom. You know, in that moment, you forget I paid for an experience. In that moment, I'm in this movie. I'm in this story, and we're doing missions and doing things that we need to do. And that's why it's hard to market that. It's hard to advertise that, but that's what it does. And for a little boy that wanted to be in Star Wars his whole life, it was all I could ask for out of the experience, to be honest.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine.
You're all canon now.
We are, yeah.
That's like nuts. Like the whole
absolutely
getting the stone for Ryloth. Like we're canon now. Yep. We're part of Star Wars.
Can't tell me otherwise. And those are just two of what I mean. I could give you any countless numbers of interactions with any of the characters, because we haven't even touched the surface on who all the characters are and what they do and who and their personalities. You could go on and on with little moments, but that's what makes it so special.
Lexi, what was your moment? We're doing fine, by the way, knowing that we're never going to be on this. It's okay.
Whose idea was it to do this episode? Why did I do this to myself?
Apologies.
I mean, honestly, it's nuts because you do feel like you are there. Like it feels real. I have I can't help it when I go to a show, when I see a stage, like I naturally see where the scenes go, where, the the backstage is. I couldn't see the seams, which just was like nuts, and the transitions were brilliant. And I can't. I do have to say though, as far as like Adam's comment about the bathrooms, I used to live on a ship, so they seemed massive to me in comparison to what I used to have. So I was like realizing that my comparison was a little different from normal people.
The difference is you're getting paid versus we were paying to be there.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put more than 3 non-related adults in that room. I mean, but you're not in there. I mean, I was in there to sleep and take a shower and change clothes. That was pretty much it. But that was by design. I was like, I'm not going to be in the room. I'm going to experience the rest of this. But yeah, he's right. They're not big rooms. They really aren't.
So I'm gonna spoil it just so you guys also know what we're talking about as far as like the Saja finale was phenomenal, and what it is I got a clue from listening to one. Len Testa had a review that had no spoilers that said just basically do all the mission, finish every single mission on Batu, and you won't regret it. And that basically means you're allowed into the Saja finale, which is where they open a holocron and then like Yoda speaks to everyone, like, and it's phenomenal. It really is the best thing ever. And then the actual finale in the main room is you have to looking it up online is not enough, but it at least gives you an idea. It is a long.
I recorded the whole thing. Yeah.
I did too.
Yeah.
I have no videos. I have nothing. I have like me before, and then all of a sudden the light fixture's broken. Nothing happened in between. I got a single picture.
There you go. Well, our buddy Nate Bishop, he recorded the Saja finale. I did not, but he was sitting right beside me and he recorded the whole thing. So we kind of got it all on film. And shout out to Nate for doing that. I appreciate him doing that.
Awesome.
But the other cool thing about the main finale, you know, the lightsaber that Josh D'Amaro had, you do get to see that. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't prepared for how good it looks in person.
Oh my God.
Like it was crazy how bright and just real it looked. And
I wanted to cry. I was like screaming and crying at the same time.
I knew it was coming, and I was still just blown away by it. It was unbelievable how it looked. Sorry, Frank.
Ending every statement with sorry about.
Sorry, Frank. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, we enjoyed ourselves. So sorry.
I'll say this. I wish there was a way, and maybe they're going to do something where they can incorporate some of these characters into Galaxy's Edge and into Batu. I think that would be something that would be really neat to see. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Who knows? It's Disney. But like the Sublight Lounge, the drinks and things they had there, bring some of that into Oga's.
Yes, please.
You know, give me some of those that do some stuff like that. Hopefully they will, if they're listening, Josh.
He is. He called
He's
me
still
before.
on my list, so sorry. I can never forgive him for shutting this one, but you know, bring some of that into Galaxy's Edge. Bring some of the characters in to Batu. They would fit in seamlessly, and even though most people may not recognize who they are, I think they would add a lot to the land if they could do that, if they're willing to.
I'm just saying, people pay how much to do like Be Our Guest and Cinderella's Royal Table. Like, you already have the transport there. Say, you know, you get to spend this much time in the sublight. You get a dinner. You get a short performance by Gaia, and then get out. Like, please do that, because then at least like for like a 2-hour window, I could like be like, we slept there and we did this and that's the bridge. Like, I want that.
I would go back. I would just go back to the sublight and hang out there. I could stay there for a couple of hours and not do any of the rest of it.
Did you get the smoked cheese?
I don't. No, I don't know if we did.
There's like little tastes at the sublight that not a lot of people know about, and there was one. It was like 3 smoked cheeses, and it comes in this like glass case that's filled with smoke.
No,
and they lift it, and it like goes everywhere. It's amazing.
We tried most of the drink. We did the drink. There was a drink tasting on day 2. I think at 12:30 we were back and did that, which was kind of cool. Kind of not a mixology class like on Disney Cruise Line, but there were 4 different drinks from 4 different planets, and they gave you the backstory. So that was pretty neat. But no, we didn't get any smoked cheese. Now I wish I would have. I ate too many of the chips.
Did you have the
And the flavors.
tube, the fish egg tube thing that looked like a cannoli, but it was like savory?
Was it in the sublight?
Yes.
Or
No.
I think we might have. I don't know that we got everything that was in there, but we tried to get most of it. So I think we may have.
We were in sublight, so the lounge. That's Ryan's background. The food was all included. The drinks weren't. The alcoholic drinks, I should say, weren't. So, so they had all these weird Star Wars food things, and we just kept ordering it.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did too.
And the drinks were, Disney price drinks, but they were they were like Ogas, but plussed up. Like they were like they had other elements to them, and they were really
Yeah, Lexi's drinking out of one of the cups.
Really cool.
The fiery Mustafarian.
Oh,
cup.
nice.
Yeah, thought I recognized that one.
I had ordered and but they looked at me like, but I had 4 heads because I had ordered like coffee at night, and they were like, "What are you doing? You can't have coffee." But I drink coffee at night, so
there you
go. Lewis had a good question, which is, how long did it take to realize you weren't in the movie anymore? Like when you came off the ship and you departed. I mean, that's got to be a whole other level of Disney blues, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, they had a gift shop. They had the gift shop outside.
Yeah.
Like the wall opened up, and there was all stuff that wasn't for sale on the ship. Now it's for sale there. So now we're like, okay, now do I have to buy any of this stuff because it wasn't on the ship before?
Which if you wanted a T-shirt like something like this, that was just like, because everything in the gift shop on the ship was like in-universe clothing.
Yeah, so Chandrilla's Star Lines are Halcyon.
Right. So you couldn't just get a Halcyon T-shirt or a hat or something. It would have to be like something you would wear to dress up as a character or something like that. So, so that's your opportunity to do that. But, yeah, you have blues big time. So I guess we got off you kind of know, because you're in regular clothes again for the first time. And then you leave. I had most of the day at Disney the rest of the day. So I kind of went and did just kind of hung out at the Poly and at the Contemporary, as one should. Had a Dole Whip, ran into Tom and Michelle.
What a day. Come on.
That was honestly the most random occurrence. I almost didn't go get on the boat. I was going to ride the monorail. I was like, no, I'll ride the boat. I like the boat better. And just happened to be on the boat with them.
What?
Just a freak occurrence. But yeah, you find yourself, I know for me, I kept replaying things in my head. And some of the cast and some of the crew that were on there, like they found us on Instagram, or we found them. And so you would connect with them that way. And even they posted some pictures. I think it was the Sandro character, the guy that Adam was talking about with the musical instrument. He posted a picture with our crew on his Instagram page. That's cool. So that kind of keeps it going for a little bit. But you do have to decompress from it, because it's high intensity. You're going nonstop. And then you get out and you're like, wait, I'm not in space anymore. What's going on?
My family, we were continuing our Disney trip because my parents weren't with us. So we went over to, we went to Beach Club, and then we had the day off. So I was like walking on that walk over to Hollywood Studios, and my best friend had asked me how it was, and I was leaving him a voicemail, and I was like, it was a really good trip. I was like explaining it, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm crying. Just a second. I have to finish this voicemail because it was awesome. And I was like, oh. Like, I've never cried because I've been happy before, but like, I was like, it was awesome. It was so good. I'm going to go huddle in a corner now.
Well, I think when it really hits home is when you're describing it to my wife or to my friends. How was it? Tell me about it. And I'm all excited telling them this stuff, and they're looking at me like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, because they're like, they weren't there. They didn't, it's hard to explain it to people. It really is. And I'm talking about all these little moments that happened either with the cast and crew or with the group that I was with, because we had goals of trying to break characters to get them out of character. And we got Croy a couple of times and a couple other characters. So telling all those stories, and they're like, yeah, that sounds great. Okay, go fold clothes, or, go do this, right? Do the laundry. So that's kind of when it, I think, finally hits. But yeah.
Takes a while.
I don't think you can explain the experience. I think that's the biggest problem with this whole thing. It's because like the feeling is nothing like what you expect it to be.
Yeah.
It's so immersive. It's like it's more immersive than just immersive theater. And like I said, there's no words to describe it, and that's like that's the thing they fell into when they were explaining it. It's not a Star Wars hotel. It really isn't.
No, and that's what people thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't run a 30-second ad to convey this to anybody. It's impossible.
I think people saw like the like screenshots of the event schedule, and they saw how organized it was, and I think it was getting a negative rap of like, well, I'm not doing all that. Like that's like ridiculous. I don't want to have all these like planned activities and one of them's dancing and whatever. And what you don't realize and what wasn't explained was that like first of all, you don't really have to do any of this stuff. But if you really want to like but I should say, but there's other paths, there's other storylines you can follow, and then as you're in there and you start connecting with a cast member that's leading whatever path you're trying to do, that's where you really get involved. And I was explaining it to friends of mine, and like they were like, the way that you've explained it, now I want to go. But before that, I didn't want to go. Now I want to go. Yeah. And like for me, I was like, because like my younger sister is into theater. And when I got off, I'm like, she would love this. So I'm like, now I got to bring her. And I was trying to get my brother to come because he has a cast member, so you can get a discount. And he's like, why would I want to, spend that kind of money to play Star Wars for 15 minutes, let alone 2 days? I'm like, no, but you don't understand. You're not playing Star Wars. You're like, it's like living, but you're not really. It's hard. It's very hard to and that's probably was his downfall. Was it was hard to explain to convince people to spend this much money to play lightsabers for 2 days, and because that's not really what you're doing. You're living like sort of like an alternative reality, but most people they just couldn't get that.
It honestly was a brilliant experiment, like absolutely mind blowing, and I really anticipate to see what comes out of this, whether it's from Disney or something else. Something has to grow from the seed that was put here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, to me it sounds like what Disney is truly capable of, and sometimes what can cause some of our frustrations, because if you've known Disney for a while, like the magic they can create and how certain things can make you feel. So when you see them going away from that, you're like, come on, we know what you're capable of. And to me, this entire experience you had seems like, yes, that is what Disney is capable of. They are able to make you feel things and immerse you in a way and make you feel like you're 5 years old again and you're finally getting to live out your dream. Like, to me, that's Disney. And so I did not go on it, but I would love to see them do something with this. And it is hard to explain what you guys went through to people, but they have to find a way to you have this whole area now, do something with it and create more magic with it and find a way to spread the word, and also stop scaring people with your pricing. I think you just you want to go that high, start low and then work up to it. But like, do what you normally do, Disney. Start low and then screw people over later and nickel and dime. But like, just start in a good place first. But because it's like a shame that it's going away because of what it can make people feel. Like that there needs to be more of that, not less.
I mean, I think they could have done it at a lower price point, to be honest. We talked with somebody that worked there. I won't mention who they are. I can tell you off screen if you want to know. You probably know them. But they told us that every voyage was profitable, even the ones that were a third or less full. They made money on every voyage, which tells you they could have lowered the price and filled it up and still made a profit. It just wasn't as much as they wanted to make on it, obviously.
I feel like they were trying to like get their building costs too quickly back.
Yeah, they were trying to recoup it so fast. I think if they had let it breathe a little longer, word of mouth would have gotten out. And I think more people would have started to experience, if they would have comboed that with discounts, with dropping if you knew, for instance, that next March they were going to discount it 30%, right? If you did it last year, so they'll probably do it this year, just like with all the free dining promotions and everything else they used to do. If you knew that going in, you're like, hey, we can go then. That's more affordable. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And maybe it could have worked.
And they had Imagineers discussing alternative storylines. So if they even had like 2 or 3 storylines, you could have people who are doing like 3 back-to-back ships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, if they brought in the original trilogy, game on.
Heck, I wanted the Mandalorians to take over the ship. I thought that would be freaking epic.
I think people would go.
Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't try to add value to it. I mean, even if they don't lower price, I don't know why they didn't, because it's hard to, convince a family to spend your whole vacation budget on a 2-night experience. So if you're gonna do that, then why not? Because you have all these hotel rooms. Why not add value? Give them a free night before, free night after, free tickets to checkout day, so that get people, because these are like simple things that give it a free include your lightsaber building or droid building with it, like, because all that stuff you still had to then pay extra for it. I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they didn't, like, instead of, like, even if they didn't want to discount it to like make it seem like they're cheapening it, even though they did discount it, at least add something so that it makes people feel like they're getting more for their money, because it's hard to convince somebody to spend that much money on a 2-night experience. Regardless of how much, regardless of whatever your view of how much money is worth, it's a lot of money for 2 nights. So,
well, Adam, you said you didn't do the food on Batu the day there, and I personally was determined, because it was included. It was like they gave us credits for that meal and a alcoholic drink at Docking Bay 7, so I was like, I'm getting that back.
And so I didn't do that, and not just whatever. And the checkout day, I went to Magic Kingdom, and my credit was still there, so I was able to use it. I used 2 credits. Actually, they gave me 2 credits. I don't know how I got 2 credits. So I was able to, for me and to pay for a friend of mine, we had free quick service at the Magic Kingdom.
That's awesome.
That was our plan too, but right before when they announced the closure, right before we went, we had heard some people saying that theirs wasn't working on the checkout day. So we were like, well, I guess that day's going to be 2 lunches, lunch on Batu and lunch on the ship, And so we literally waited around for Docking Bay 7 to open to eat, and ate and left.
Did you get your Surly Sarlacc and get out?
Exactly. Yeah, because drinks were included with that, so you can. Absolutely.
Well, I'm perfectly fine. Not thinking about what could have been at all. But and we touched on it a little bit. Hopefully, they can try to yes and whatever's happened here the last 18 months into whatever is next. Though not mentioning it at all at Destination D23 was a little concerning. And to live vicariously through not just the 3 of you, but everybody these last 18 months has been a little challenging. But, I do think it comes down to the experience and how, it's interesting to me that, we talk about the price tags of the rooms and what you get and everything else. And it's how you end up quantifying, I think, those experiences that you weren't expecting. That is that you come away with at the end, and that that's what's sad about it closing, is because you all had these moments, these experiences. A lot of people did. I know, and I've heard it, and how people walk away from it. And I always go back to 12, 13 years ago when Sleep No More in Boston and here in New York City, took off, and how everyone talked about that, and just like how, and just what the word of mouth was for that. But when you have a price tag like this was, you can do all the word of mouth, you can, but, you're going to hit that roadblock every time. And yeah, I would have loved an Ahsoka track or an Obi-Wan track at this point, or an Mandalorian track. And, what could have been. So it's, it's a shame, but hopefully it can be revisited in some new fashion going forward. And they just don't let it, sit there like Ariel's in the beach club.
I have a challenge for Universal. You want to one-up Disney? Do this for Hogwarts and just make the price tag a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
You want to one-up Disney? Do it, please. I just want to go do something like this again.
Yeah, they could totally do that.
All right. Jen, you have anything else? Or
Jurassic Park, and you can like
Jurassic Park.
Run away from raptors or something.
Oh my God.
Terrifying.
It'd be phenomenal.
Fast and Furious, you're in a club all day, right?
I think you should enter, Hill Valley in 1985 and you wake up in 1955. I'm just
yes, for sure. Should we go around? Where can we find everyone on the socials?
I don't even know my handle. I have no idea what it is.
We'll send it to Adam first. He knows his plugs.
Twitter, whatever that website is called now, Twitter, XYZ.
Twitter.
At the Mouse and More, and Instagram, Adam Elmers, and find me in the Discord if I can ever get back to it again. I'm sorry.
Adam, that's why we tag you, is so we know how to get you back is when we tag you.
There you go.
Right. We're just always waiting for you anyway. Lexi, how do we find you?
I'm on Instagram at Lexi Dance Flyer, and that's just me and everything. So that's wine, Disney, my adorable puppy, and every other thing that I get my butt into.
Ryan.
Okay, I found it.
Oh, you found it? Okay.
Mostly on Twitter, X, whatever Elon's decided to call it these days. W_Ryan Alexander, all one. Try to make it as much me as possible. I'm more active on there than I am anywhere else. I'm on Instagram, w.ryan.alexander, but I'm mostly active on Twitter. I don't post a lot of stuff on Instagram.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming together and telling us your experiences and whatever. Whatever. We still feel the same. We made the right decision, and it's fine.
Hey, you guys saved a lot of money. You're welcome.
Yeah.
We saved you a lot of money by experiencing it for you. So
yeah.
All right. Until the Galactic Starcruiser reopens. No, that's not true. Until next time. Peace, Jen, and I'm Frank. Bye-bye.
Deuces. For your one-stop shop for all things Dillos, visit DillosDiz.com. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at DillosDiz. Don't forget to join our Facebook group at Dillos Diz Community Core. We have plenty to see over at youtube.com/DillosDiz. Remember to hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you check into DillosDizResort.com with tiers starting as low as $1. Theme Park Thursday with Dillos Diz featuring Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo Snyder. Dillos Diz Podcast 2023.